intelligent talk that's sure to raise the IQ.
Here's Guy Wehman, Ben Brunson, and Frank Vernuccio, Inside the News.
Welcome back to the next segment of Inside the News. This is typically our international segment, and we're going to treat it this way. Frank Vernuccio, Ben Brunson, myself, Guy Wehman. Okay, Ben, let's get started with, you have your choice. You can go with the CCP growing impatient, or North Korea's Kim is getting upset with his sister's rise, or the Hoover Report. Ben, go.
Well, let's talk about China, because that is the biggest issue facing this country strategically and will be for many decades to come. The Chinese party, I think, if Donald Trump has accomplished one great thing in his 4 years, whether he's reelected or not, he has redefined our relationship with China and opened the eyes of most Americans on the right and the left, and made people realize that China is a nefarious actor that has as its strategic intention knocking the United States out of the status as the world's great superpower and replacing the U.S. in that role. And President Xi of China is using the global chaos from COVID along with the election that is preoccupying the United States to move aggressively on many fronts. They've taken over Hong Kong completely now. They've destroyed all freedoms and democracy in the democracy movement inside Hong Kong. They are arresting people, leaders right and left. So it is a complete takeover and crackdown. It is no different than Germany overrunning a neighboring state in the early 1940s. They are increasingly militarizing the South China Sea, and in my opinion, seem to be openly moving towards an invasion of Taiwan in the future. We know they want Taiwan back in the fold, and they will use military force to do that if they think they can get away with it. They are very hostile with India now. They're moving forces and material to the border with India. India is returning the favor. So the possibility of open war with India on the border near Kashmir is very much on the table right now. We have the opportunity under Donald Trump, and I think this will be a key feature of his second term in office, to create a new NATO that is geared towards China instead of Russia, with alliances between the U.S., India, Japan, Australia, Indonesia, Vietnam, our old enemy, could become one of our most important allies going forward. Look for this to be a critical part of the focus of the Trump administration in the second term.
Frank, you nodded your head, and I caught it too, what Ben said, and it was a brilliant idea or concept that he raised, a new NATO, and I like that idea. What do you think, Frank?
Yeah, actually, it has been discussed for some time. It's just growing a lot stronger. It would consist, as Ben said, of countries like Vietnam and India, Japan, Australia, possibly the Philippines and others. The importance of the American-Indian relationship cannot be overstated at this point. India, with its vast economy, its huge population and strategic location, is in a crucial position. And it is, of course, the natural enemy in terms of geopolitics of China. India is just about to float its first indigenously built aircraft carrier. So it is a sophisticated military. It is a nuclear power. And it is certainly our most important ally at this point. China, because it is not a democracy, because it can commit vast sums to its military, doesn't have to worry about civilian consumption, except in the most limited sense, is going to be increasingly militant. It is odd that China, which could have become so much more influential around the world if they had followed a more peaceful path, has nevertheless shown their stripes as a true aggressive communist power in going about doing its influence peddling in a military way rather than in an economic way. That's going to have to be deterred sooner or later. The press doesn't seem to like to talk about it for reasons we'll get to in a few minutes. But certainly it is a major threat of the 21st century. It is going to have to be countered, and India is going to be a key part of that.
Ben, you're a resident economist here, and Frank brought that up. And and what Donald Trump wants to do is make America first in manufacturing, bring it all back here to the United States, which would in one way give a blow to the Chinese economy, but he is dead set on doing that. And believe it or not, the American people are behind him on that. This COVID-19, the pandemic, and not having basic drugs that are made in China here, made in the United States, has brought that to light. And people are saying, no, we need to be first, make America first in manufacturing.
Well, you know what Donald Trump has done is this is as revolutionary as FDR was to the Democratic Party. FDR during the Depression made the Democratic Party the party of the working class, and that has lasted until just recently. Donald Trump is redefining that. And the Republican Party, Trump's Republican Party, is the party of the working class. It is why he is going to carry states like Michigan and Ohio once again. He may carry Minnesota this year and Wisconsin as well, Pennsylvania, the Rust Belt states that are all benefiting under Trump policies are going to reward him in this coming election with leading his reelection victory. And he has redefined the party. And it is interesting, his opposition is the establishment politicians of both parties, the career politicians who have gotten wealthy over the old system, the old status quo that was pro-China, that was in favor of jobs being shipped overseas, that was in favor of more and more control over the economy in Washington, D.C., so that people like the Clintons and the Bush family got increasingly wealthy as a result of all the power flowing through Washington. And Trump is destroying all of that and returning, frankly, economic power to the working class in this country. That is what's going to drive his big election victory that is coming in just a couple of short months now. And that is so critical. If it's followed up on and embraced by the Republican Party, it's a change that could last for the next century.
Wow. That was Ben Brunson. He's the author of the Falstaff, Enigma, and Esther, Sling. You can find Ben at benbrunson.com and he and his books at amazon.com. Check it out. It's a simple click away. They'll get them to you in a couple of days. We've got Frank Vernuccio with the American Analysis of News and Media. He's in New York State. You can find more about Frank at usagovpolicy.com. You're listening to us on affiliates across the country and watching us on YouTube and on aun-tv.com. We're going to take a time out. We'll be back.
You're listening to Wehman, Brunson, and Vernuccio, Inside the News.